I just finished watching Whom Gods Destroy. It was terrible. It was really terrible, and I tried. I tried so hard to get into this episode, and it was just awful on so many levels. And that's what bugged me, is that there were parts of this episode that I thought were really cool. I was like, yes! And then it just got bad. So basically, Kirk and Spock beam down to this prison planet thing, and they have a cure that is going to cure mental illness. All of it. Forever. Yeah, let that one sink in. They're going to cure all mental illness for all species for all time with this drug. Mental illness doesn't work that way. I'm not going to go into a big deal about it, but that premise alone is just so ridiculous. This may be the dumbest setup I have seen of any episode so far. And I mean, we've had rubber monsters attacking, and Jack the Ripper, and stuff like that. We're going to cure all mental illness for all time. Oh, gosh. So, that's our premise. They're on this planet, and the warden of this prison, whatever, is taken around to see this old starship captain who's there. But, lo and behold, that this old starship captain has the ability to shapeshift. Or something like that. And he has taken the governor prisoner, and he's in control. It's really dumb, because this guy is supposed to be shape-shifting. And I get it. It's super low budget. It's third season, blah, 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 whatever. But even for there's dumb effects of just like zooming in, making everything blurry, and zooming out, and he's changed bodies, it still looks stupid because he changed clothing as well. How? Explain that one to me. Is he like constantly naked and he can just make clothing? Is that the way it goes? Because it didn't make any sense. And I'm willing to forgive them, for the most part, for the bad special effects. Even though these were really, really bad ones. And it was just lazy. I think that's the biggest word I can use to describe this. Character and his changing was lazy. And on top of that, his costume was atrocious. All the characters. So basically, yeah, this guy frees all of the other inmates, and they have the worst costumes I think we've seen so far. I mean, we've seen some bad stuff. I thought the multicolored fur caveman was really bad. This really looks like they went to some 60s drug party and painted a bunch of people's faces, and they just came out wearing whatever they were wearing. The clothing was just awful. Really, really awful. I'll see if I can get a picture and post it up for you guys so you can see just how silly these costumes look. So anyway, yeah, he now has control of the station, and here's another problem. There's supposed to be 15 inmates, I think, and a bunch of guards, and we see less than half of that. What happened to the rest of them? Again, this is a situation where, I get it, you don't have the budget to pay for 30-some extras to be on here, and that's fine, I can deal with that. So at least give us some explanation, like, oh yeah, he came to power and then he killed half the people. Okay, cool. You know what? That took all of 10 seconds to do, and we don't need to worry about it. But they never talk about it, so I'm assuming there's other guards somewhere, there's other inmates somewhere. Nope, nothing. Nothing at all. So this starship captain is now calling himself Lord, and he's supposed to be insane or something. We never really get a good idea of what is going on with him. We know he had an accident at some point, but that's about all I really gathered. And the acting was just over the top. And there's a scene where he changes into Kirk, and as Kirk tries to get on the Enterprise, and Scotty won't let him because he doesn't give him the right password, and he throws this temper tantrum. And so we see William Shatner acting crazy as well. Yeah, it was painful to watch. It was just really silly, and not in a good way. But I think one of the points that really just bugged me was Leonard Nimoy's performance as Spock. Now, Nimoy is really good, okay? I don't think he's going to give a bad performance. It was the writing of this character. There was one moment that I think needs to go down in the annals of Star Trek history as like one of the 5 most badass things I have ever seen. There's a scene where Spock pretends to be knocked out, and 2 of the prisoners who, are now I guess the guards, they come to take him, and he's acting like he's passed out, and they pick him up and they begin to drag him, and he double neck pinches them. That was just cool. That was really cool. These 2 different aliens got him there, and he goes, beep, and they both drop. I was like, yes, that was badass. I really like that. Because that's Spock. That's Spock at his best. He's cold and calculating. And it just was really cool to see. And then, literally, a minute later, there's a showdown between him and the old starship captain and Kirk. And I'm sorry, I can't even remember this guy's name. It was that bad. And he has turned into Kirk. So now we have 2 Kirks. Now, this is Spock. My first assumption is, and if I was Spock, I'd walk in, set my phaser to stun, and stun both of them, and then sort it out later. Right? Wouldn't that make sense? You have 2 guys, one of them's Kirk, one of them's not Kirk, they're both claiming to be Kirk. Stun them both. You're not going to hurt them. They're not going to die. Stun them. The dude can't hold his shape-shifting abilities forever. Even if he can, you can do a blood test or something. I'm sure there's some way you can figure it out. It's not that hard, but just walk in, bap, bap, zap them both. You're done. Nope. Instead, Spock gets hit on the head and falls down while the 2 Kirks roll around and have a fist fight. That's not Spock. We're halfway through season 3. We've had 2.5 seasons developing this character. And this is so far out of character. I want to know, did the writers ever bother to watch other episodes? Or did they just hear about this character around the water cooler? Because that's the way it came off. And it was just insulting to the character. And that brings up another point. Talking about, past episodes. And I understand they weren't really being into continuity or anything like that. But I felt there was a huge missed opportunity. There's a scene where the starship captain is talking about, him taking over and all these past dictators who have failed. And he lists off, Napoleon and Hitler and Alexander Great, blah, blah, That was really cool. It would have been better if he threw in Khan's name. Because we've already established that Khan was like this great dictator who fell. Let's throw that in. That would have been cool. Just a neat little nudge. No, didn't do that. Lost moment. Whatever. And then to wrap this all up, the ending. They finally get this new drug that's supposed to cure mental illness, and they cure the starship captain. It's not so much curing him as mental illness as it is making him a zombie, basically. It reminded me of, if you've ever played the game Dragon Age, when they would make a mage tranquil. That's what this seemed like. He didn't know who Kirk was. He didn't know who Spock was. He really didn't know who he was. He didn't know where anything was. It was just like, yes, okay. And they take him away. That's not curing mental illness. You just made a zombie. Oh, gosh. I could go on for another 5-6 minutes about how awful this episode was. Yeah. Stay away from this one at all costs. I couldn't rate this any lower. This was it was terrible. It was terrible. Stay away. That's all I gotta say. Bye.